This is Gerald Johan van Waas and the educational channel that is in support of the theory that is also explained in the development of the word and with some extensions further in the application of the word. Together, they are also together in one book, but I recommend the separate ones if you want to check out the theory. And these videos are an addition to the theory alone. You also need some demonstrations, so here in the videos you can have some demonstrations, and the demonstrations are about the letter meanings and combinations, how you can interpret the underlying letters and letter combinations. My theory says that these letters and letter combinations are based upon rhythmical progression of something that is somewhat in between the numbers. Let's say a formation process can be derived from it. It is also about positions in time and space and a whole frame that is building up a certain logic that you can discover and that we ourselves also follow by making letters and making letter combinations. Unconsciously we have the right associations, but we don't know the methods. Now the method is understandable, but it needs some study before you know all of it. Anyhow, this video will demonstrate a few words with fl, with a combination of f with l. I'm already explaining several letter combinations in combined with l. This is with the letter f, and I will have the examples of the words flute, which I will compare to lute, why lute is different from flute. And I will just take the objects as a reference point, and we will recognize very easily how these letters are expressing the things. So we have the f, we know already this is a kind of a frictional a region of directions, all kinds of directions in all kinds of, so we don't know really what direction this is. And when we combine it with L, we actually have this axis of a region that has these directions. There are a few things that have these aspects, like for instance in a sandstorm you also have it goes every direction. That's also comparable, yeah, the sandstorm. So we have already the flute. This is the region in which these all directions are constantly moving in all directions, and it is a quite confrontational region as I explained it in my book. So we have the fl, and we will add it to, now this time just a l with u or a in it. We also compare it to the English words. We also compare to the Dutch words of flute and fluit, or lute and luit. They're almost the same, and they also expressed in an almost exactly the same way. So we have the l, the long form. The u or u are actually all, it can easily be hollow, something that is hollow, that is in an activity of formation that is not fully formed. You can have that as well. And we, as ui, the e are impulses, so we have impulses that we can access to, that we are inserted somewhere. So as the ui, it is most clear how the lui form, the coming from the purpose of combinations of letters that we have the ui in the middle of various variations of u with e combined over a certain length, so in the L form, and we will limit it by the adding the T, fluit, the last letter, the T. So we limit it in some of these regions. So we limit it at points where we have a distinction noticeable. So there we have already the luit association, in which there will be an F association. Is also hollow, as I said. It's not just the points themselves are hollow, the thing itself can be hollow as well. So it also fits in that way to the fluit or flute. And of course we still departed from the region of directions that in this case will go inwardly via the E and go in variations out of it as well, where there is the so there are variations in there are variations in availability, in progress, and so on in the U. The E is an insertion, or also can be coming out. So it could still fit with the flute. With the flute in English, the U has multiple things. Most of the time the U's can be together in one space, but because of the L there is a certain length and I have different spaces. It's not necessary with the flute that you have different entries. With the E you have the U with E combined, you have different entries, but it's okay. We know the flute, and we also know that the A is then the other direction is there's a coming in and a coming out in the widening perspective, as you can see here. So that's a flute. Associations of letters can be easily added at the flute as we know it. And of course the F that goes in all kinds of different directions, the air can escape in all kinds of different directions, of course, as well. We know that. We know what the flute is. The basis, of course, is the fl, or the area of friction. Basically is air that wants to get out and find a direction, but it will not find a direction. It can only find a direction at the points where there is, where it can get out, where it's no longer limited in certain areas. Now, why is it so different with a lute? Because you can't recognize a lute here at all. The basis of this word were fl and not l. If you have the basis of lu instead of fl, you also have the l, the two-dimensional long area, and the u, or the hollow part. In this case they are separated. It could have been one space as well, but the rest is the same. So it's the frame of where the limitations and the progress and so on, it's the same. But you don't have the starting point of what basically is air trying to get into a certain direction and trying to find a way, trying to find a direction. It's not there with lute or luit. It's just the object alone. And that's what it is. It's not an air instrument. It's just an instrument to play music with. And that's why it still has the same structure. Luit and fluit, they have the same structure. But the difference is the starting point. The starting points for the lute is the L with the U. So the form, which has a certain hollowness in it as well. And the T are the distinctions that you make on it. But the flute has the starting point of the air trying to find a direction. And that's the main difference. It's just one letter difference, and it comes out into a completely different object. That's the way how you can understand the letters and letter combinations. That's what is going on in the back of our mind of making associations, making association with T, with I, with U, with F. They all have certain associations and we deal with them also in the back of our mind, and that's why flute is starting from the f air and the lute isn't. Anyhow, this was another demonstration from Gerald Johan van Waas. There's a website too, and this was another demonstration from the YouTube channel. Subscribe to it if you like. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.